But as always, before we get started, we have Miss Tara Day here today to lead us in the invocation. And Commissioner McCann, if you would, the pledges. Please rise.
Lord, we come to you with thanksgiving today, for that we know that you are a God of justice and mercy. We ask you today to bless every member of this court, from the judges to the clerks. We ask that righteous judgments would prevail and evil would not be tolerated in Henderson County. We thank you, Lord, for giving those in places of authority your wisdom. Let this day go quickly as they get through this agenda so they can get home to Thanksgiving. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Ms. Day. Well, again, welcome everyone. The time is 9:01. We do have a quorum, so we will call this meeting of Commissioners Court to order. Are there any citizens' comments?
No, sir.
Item 1, consider and take action on minutes from previously held meeting of Commissioners Court held on November the 14th, 2023. Are there any additions, deletions, or comments?
Hearing none, Judge, I move we approve the minutes from the Commissioners Court meeting regular session November 14th, 2023 as presented.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the minutes of November 14th, 2023 as presented. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes unanimously. Item number 2 is consider and take action on a resolution requesting the public resale of properties bid in trust to Henderson County, Texas at delinquent tax sale. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. This morning, I bring 2 resale properties before you by and through this resolution. If you turn to your exhibit, the first property is real property, Lot 65, Block 8 in Wildwood Subdivision. This is located in Precinct 3. The original judgment was taken on July 6th of 2022. We attempted to sell this property on December 6th of 2022 with an opening bid of $2,000. We did not get a bid for the minimum amount. So we asked the court today for the resolution so that we can drop the price to 10% of the adjudged value, which would be $200 for the opening bid on this property. There was some supplemental information provided to you, including maps. Do y'all have any questions on this property?
Court? No, ma'am.
Okay. On the second property, it is a manufactured home only. The original judgment date was on October 11th of 2021. This manufactured home is currently located in Precinct 1 in the P. Tomlinson survey. The original tax sale date was September 6th, 2022. The minimum bid was $4,709.34. We did not receive that minimum bid, so I'm before you today to ask that we can drop that to 10% of the adjudged value, which is $35,740, so that 10% of that would be $3,574.
Court, questions concerning the 2 properties?
So on the second one, it's just a mobile home.
Yes, sir.
Is it sitting on that lot?
Yes, sir.
Why does the lot not go with it?
It is owned differently. So
okay.
the mobile home is owned separately, which is why it's on its own account.
Gotcha.
If this resolution passes today, when will these be up for resale?
These will be up for resale in our March sale.
Court, any further questions concerning the resolution concerning the two properties? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve with the judge's authorization to sign.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson and second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the resolution requesting the public resale of properties bid in trust to Henderson County, Texas at a delinquent tax sale with the county judge's authorization to sign. Are there any further comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Number 3, consider and take action on a resolution to allow online auctions for tax foreclosure sales and to adopt rules governing online auctions.
Commissioners, Liz is handing out some snapshots of the online platform so that you can review those and get an idea of what it looks like online. And by this resolution, we are asking the court to approve it that will allow us to take tax sales online. This is a permissive resolution. It is not a requirement. Therefore, they could be online or we could still hold them in person, depending on the outcomes. To highlight some of the main points, the tax sales will be held on the first Tuesday of each month, or if the first Tuesday of the month occurs on a holiday such as January 1 or July 4th, then it would be the first Wednesday of the month between the hours of 10 and 4. The auction will go live between 10 and 4 and remain live for not only Henderson County, but other counties that are offering online tax sales at that time on the platform. Another provision in this resolution is that bid will be in increments of at least $50. And also that there would be a technology fee added. Currently, the technology fee that we charge on the online platform is $50 per tract. And payment for the successful bidder will be done by wire transfer or cashier's check within 24 hours of the close of the online auction. I know there was some concern raised in other areas about the closing of the auction and how it cuts off. The closing is, it takes the top bidders who are still actively bidding, it shuts them out at 4, and then it rolls into 2-minute increments to allow them to close out their bids. To notify taxpayers, we have these QR codes that we will post outside the tax office and outside our offices that are across from the tax offices. And they are QR codes and take you straight to the tax sale website and then also to become a registered bidders. Bidders are asked to pre-register, which allows them to be authenticated and verified beforehand. Their questions can be answered also beforehand, and we believe that more money will result from these sales going online, and also that they will be safer for staff and the general public. We also propose to notify purchasers at the tax sales by posting a link on your tax website so that it will take it to our tax website, and then they can find out whether the tax sale is online or in person, find the sales list and all the information that they need for the tax sale. Do I have any questions on this?
How many counties are going to this?
So currently, our online platform signed Burnett County about 7 years ago, and it was the first one in Texas. Comal County, Harrison County, Angelina County have all adopted this resolution, and they will be coming online in the near future. Cherokee and Gregg and Guadalupe are in the works, I would say, just as far as we are. I also know that Smith County, Smith County, has done several online tax sales on a different platform, and Angelina has adopted it. And it is a new and upcoming thing, but I feel like within the next several months, majority of the counties will go online.
Are you aware of any other online platforms that other entities use?
Yes, our resolution is open as far as which online website can be utilized. Since we have our own online platform, I know Purdue and Brandon have their own online platform, and I believe that Linebarger has an agreement with a platform called realauction.com.
What about if someone wants to do this, but they don't have a computer?
Actually, these sales can be done on a smartphone or tablet. There's also availability for access to computers at the Henderson County Library. There's also free Wi-Fi there. And I believe that through the smartphones and access at the library, that it's fully accessible to anybody to be able to access the site.
I had one more. What about it? How would they know if it's going to be online sale or in person?
We will post it on our website as well as y'all's tax website. There will be a link that they can go to and then find out all the information for the upcoming tax sale.
That's all the questions I had.
You said something about, would other counties be inside this, I say this auction, that I know it's a test, but say this auction that's December the 5th, would other counties be listed in this one, or would it just strictly be in?
Not inside that one, but you can switch back and forth to other counties. So it allows investors to then jump around to different counties and be able to bid. There's also notifications that you can click on when you've been outbid or when it's coming to a close. You just kind of pick what you want to be notified about. You can also put in a maximum bid and let it just run itself so that you don't have to sit there and monitor it.
Right. So so really you could have 5 auctions going on, and the bidder could be traveling back and forth during those.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Currently, we have over 2,500 bidders registered in our database, and any bidder can bid on any auction that we have going at that time in our platform. So it opens it up to a broad range of investors and folks to bid.
Once you're a registered bidder, are you registered, say, for life or for the year?
You are registered for life, but you would have to update your written statement showing that no taxes are due within a county if that is required in order to get the deed.
Okay.
Are most all tax sales on the first Tuesday of the month? Most
Yes,
counties?
that is required by law.
So if anybody has to go to a on-site one, they usually have to send a representative to all these different counties and stuff.
Yes, that has been a common practice before they gone online. Many investors would send people to Houston, Dallas, Harrison, Smith, Gregg, but they'd be under the same umbrella of a company. So this will allow them to, not have to travel and do that, and can just do it from their home and bid on more properties, which then, allows them to spend more money on the properties themselves because they're not paying those folks for the mileage per diem and things like that. So.
Is this sale held in conjunction with the public auction, or are they two different things?
It is one or the other.
One or the other? Mm-hmm. So would you say that we're going to move away from the public sale?
I think eventually that is where the trend is going. But the law and the way that this resolution is written is that it is permissive. It's not required. So there can still be sales held on the courthouse steps, or they can be held online. And that information can be found out through the tax office. My idea is to try it out, see how it goes. And then if we decide that it is not in the best interest for Henderson County itself, we can move them back into in-person.
You mentioned the law. When did that pass? just to kind of get a frame of reference of how long this method has at least been authorized.
We've been doing it in Burnett for at least 7 years.
So my point is, this is nothing new.
Correct.
It's gaining steam over time.
Yes, sir.
And then I have one other question I forgot to ask you. The tech fee, does that go to the bidder or does that go to us?
The tech fee would go to the online platform for the cost of verification
I'm
and
sorry,
posting.
who pays it?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is passed to the purchaser.
Okay.
Court, any other questions or comments? We know that the demand for properties has been high, given what we've seen with real estate over the last 3 years. And it doesn't look like it will slow down any, especially in this area. If you had to compare the auctions, our auctions have been well attended in the last 3 years. As you said, we've ended up attracting more. There's been excess proceeds.
Yeah, so there's been an influx of excess proceeds in the last couple of years. I will say the last 2 sales, they weren't as highly attended, and I'm not sure if it's because of the competition elsewhere, but with going online, I think it opens up to allow more availability for those so that they don't have to spread themselves out as much.
Well, I see just in real estate, realtors selling land online, and some people buy sight unseen, just, so it's getting to be a trend of the online sales stuff, so.
Well, one of the things that I remember that we had discussed in it several times, there are properties that are drainage, there are properties that are unbuildable, and we have discussed over the years when we locate those to mark those so that we can make arrangement on those, that those don't get put back out for sale. Because as you know, the development process of the 60s and 70s was pretty much, and 80s and 90s, was pretty much $10 a bulldozer and piece of ground, you were a developer. And so it was maximizing the return on that property. And in that, we've got many lots that are unusable, spread out all over the county in these subdivisions. And I know that it's caused issues with floodplain. It's caused, issues with people building houses where water runs and then blaming the county for it. But this option, will it cause for more instances for those to slip by with us to get out there? That's my biggest concern, is we continue to identify those lots.
Before, and that's a good question because I have some of those lots. Would we approve lots before they go to sale?
No, sir, it'd be just like a normal tax sale. We would take them to judgment and then do the proper postings and then post them for sale. But in that, we do drive out our properties, and we do our best to identify and locate those properties, such as that ditch that's currently bid and trust that we have to leave there since we can't sell that. And I think with technology coming about, we have discussed using drones and otherwise to take aerial photos, as you can see on those papers there, to provide mapping and better pictures aerially. So we are constantly innovating and trying to evolve to prevent situations such as that.
I got since y'all been in, where'd you, 7 years in what county?
Burnett County?
Burnett County. Have you, because everything's moving in this direction anyway, have y'all noticed an increase in the amount of buyers in that county for over the last 7 years?
Yes, sir. A substantial increase in buyers and a substantial increase in the amount of money that is brought in. They would have, 150 different bidders on a particular lot, whereas before it might be 3 or 4 actively bidding in person. I do know that in the beginning, the sheriffs and otherwise were kind of apprehensive, but they have learned to love the process. Because a lot of the bulk of the work is done beforehand. And then, too, your bidders are verified, and it goes through a process that better vets them.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the resolution to allow online auctions for tax foreclosure sales and to adopt rules governing online auctions with the judge's authorization to sign.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey, excuse me, and seconded by Commissioner McCam to approve the resolution to allow online auctions for tax foreclosure sales and to adopt rules governing online auctions with the county judge's authorization to sign. Any further comments? All those in favor? Item passes unanimously. Item number 4 is consider and take action on a resolution reaffirming and adopting imposition of Texas Tax Code sections 33.07, 33.08, and 33.11 to defray the cost of collections. Let's go.
Commissioners, by this resolution, we have previously adopted the 33.08 and 33.07. Today I'm bringing 3311 before you. Basically what this does, 3311 allows us to start collecting on tangible personal property 60 days after the date of delinquency rather than having to wait until July 1st. So that date would be April 1st versus waiting until July 1st. We feel that this would be beneficial to the county as that personal property has a tendency to leave, and the longer it stays delinquent, the more unlikely, or I shouldn't say more unlikely, it just becomes more difficult to collect on those accounts. So by moving the date at which we can start working these accounts, not only brings in some money to kind of bridge the gap a little earlier so then we can focus on real property later in July, but also we can hopefully recover on those accounts before the property leaves the jurisdiction.
Court, there's one time in particular that 10 years ago, there was a retailer here in Athens that was Wolf, I can't remember the full name.
Wolf Outdoors.
Wolf Outdoors. And at their closing, or their situation, we had to move pretty quickly in this very situation. So, and what that is, that being the materials inside, those tangible properties of the business, or tangible personal properties of the business. And it does, those type of things leave very quickly. It's not something that I think we deal with an extreme deal. I may be wrong on that, but there have been instances.
Historically, y'all haven't had a problem with it, but as of the last couple years, we found that property left just 2 months prior towards, before we could actually start collecting. And had we had this in place, we would have been able to identify those accounts and start right away on April 1st rather than waiting until July. And it would increase our chances to have property to seize and sell to cover those delinquent taxes if we could not get them paid outright.
This kind of, is it the same kind of injunction as a tax warrant? Or
Tax warrants can be utilized. Typically, we don't use them here.
yeah, but I'm saying the of holding the stuff inside.
A tax warrant would be used to seize in place, yes, sir.
Okay.
And there's one time that I went to Miss Goodall, tax assessor collector, and asked if I could draft up a tax warrant. We called it a dummy tax warrant just to show it to the business, say, hey, you have delinquent taxes. This is what it would look like if they're not paid within X amount of time, or, this is what could happen. Here's a copy of this in your statement, and we got it paid pretty quickly and didn't have to resort to the full-on tax warrant and shut them down, because we don't want to, especially in a small town, that's the last resort to go in and shut them down, because it's it's embarrassing, and you don't want to hurt their business. It's just
Well, I'm just saying, in the case of Wolf Outdoors, is that kind of what your tax warrant does?
And I
Or,
believe in that particular instance that is kind of, was the avenue of it. They were shutting down, trying to get all of that. But it's a cousin to what this
right,
is.
okay.
Yeah.
There was another instance that we used tax warrants in a mobile home park. We did not exit people, but we did do the postings on the mobile homes, let the mobile home park know, because they owned all the mobile homes within there. And what it did is the tenants then that were occupying the mobile home put pressure on the owner, and we were able to get it paid the next day. So it's a good tool to use in the right circumstances. And as always, I do talk with Ms. Goodall prior to doing anything that extreme and get her permission before doing that.
Any further discussion, Court? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve of the judge's authorization to sign.
I'll second his motion.
You have to forgive me just a minute. My computer locked up, and I like to read directly from. Great. I do have a backup here.
I need to make it a little bigger.
Yeah, taking me a couple of clicks. All right. Pardon the delay. I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Tooley,
Tooley? Who seconded?
Richardson.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the resolution affirming and adopting imposition of the Texas Tax Codes Sections 33.07, 33.08, and 33.11 to defray cost of collections with county judge's authorization to sign. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. See if I can sign back in over here. Now we're back. All right, item number 5. Consider and take action on a resolution to approve amended contract for the collections of delinquent property taxes and legal representation between Henderson County, Texas and Macquarie, oh good Lord, Vescale, Bragg and Allen PC, referred to as MDDA. And where's Miss Goodall? There we go, our tax assessor collector. Miss Goodall, would you mind coming forward? And if you would lay out what we have here, this is the amended contract for.
Yes, sir. We have an existing contract that we entered into on September 1st of 2018. The term, we went through the full term, and then on or about August of 2021, just prior to the automatic renewal, We came and presented alongside the two other law firms to the court, and it was the decision of the court to keep the existing contract. Since that time, we needed to amend this existing contract to incorporate the PACE, the collection of the PACE assessment liens that y'all approved in between that presentation and now. We need to incorporate the 3311 you just adopted, as well as bring it into statutory compliance with Texas Government Code 2274, dealing with boycotting Israel, firearms, and energy companies. And in addition to this, since that we signed that 2018 contract, the rent MBBA pays to the county for the two office space we have has not increased. So we want to amend that rent and increase it to reflect current market value, as well as amend the collection fee to bring it in line with the other entities in the county for uniformity purposes. And also with that amendment to the collection fee, the way that it is written in the proposed amendment, it will not take full effect until 2 years from now. So we went ahead and extended the term to provide a time period for that to go into place and for a streamlined collection process thereafter.
Okay. Ms. Goodall, you've been in the tax office a long time. Anything you want to?
No, I think everything is, we've been back and forth over this with our meetings, and I think that's going to be best for us, actually.
Court, questions?
Judge, I have a couple of questions that, the contract states that it's a 5-year contract with a 3-year option. And so I was wondering have we done any kind of, in the past, of contracts for that long a period of time? Because I mean, normally the ones that we've done or that I've seen is like 3 and then a 2 or 3 year option maybe. So, and then my second question would be is how long has it been since we've done an RFP or RFQ for tax attorneys that maybe there's something out there, because I know that we have in our budget in it, believe, for $200,000 for a new software because net data is going away for next year.
Well, NetData is not actually going away. They're just,
Their service.
yeah, their service is not actually going away. We're just wanting to move from their service.
Oh, okay. I thought we got so many contracts out there.
Yeah.
I thought net data was going away, but
Not
anyway.
to my knowledge, they're not.
Okay, well, so in 2024, we have a budgeted item that's coming out of contingency for $200,000 for a new tax software.
Right, because I personally feel like we need to make that change.
Okay.
And that's what we've been going over. But as far as what's budgeted, I'm not exactly sure what it was.
Okay. So, anyway, myself personally, I think that, do we know how long it's been since we had a RFP or RFQ?
Given it's a professional service and RFP, RFQ is not required, I believe the last time that an official RFQ, RFP was requested was in the mid-2000s. There have been given opportunities before for discussion and presentations, but an official RFQ or P, it's been since the mid-2000s, I believe.
Well, I just feel that there could possibly be other law firms, different companies that could offer and save the county some money on a upwards of maybe, I'm just going to throw a number out there, about $400,000 to $500,000 over this 8-year period of this contract. So That's just this is my, the deal of the savings. I think everybody, there's a 15% that we're getting now, and it's going up to 20% in 2024, which I believe all of everybody that's statutorily can happen. So that's not really a deal breaker. But my feeling is that I'd like to see us table this and get a workshop and get some people in here and send out a request for professional services.
When you're talking about the savings, the county does not pay MBVA
I understand that.
or any other law firm.
So-
The savings you're talking about?
That the $200,000 that we have in 2024 for the tax software could be a savings, as well as a service fee for each year that is out there, and that could be supplied to us inside a contract with another firm, this firm, whoever comes in that can do that.
We've had past discussions about some of this for, oh, good Lord, I can't remember how many years ago it was, but we had discussion about software and hardware. I wish I could remember exactly how long ago it was.
Was before me.
Yes. Where we broached the same discussion and we ended up backing away from it. I don't remember the specifics of it, but it was one was going to buy a server, one was going to provide software. Commissioner Giesland,
He was against the hardware, but, well, in 2019, midway or first of 2020, he was against buying the hardware, or for the firm to buy the hardware.
yeah, I was,
It was about 2019.
yeah, it's been a while, and I can't remember why we backed away from it.
Judge, if I remember correctly, they felt like it was a conflict of interest, joining the two. You know, your collections and your software are two separate things. One's a service, and, you know, that's what I kind of recall.
Okay.
Does the amendment of this contract, does it essentially add 8 years to the contract?
It essentially adds, it does a 5-year term with a 3-year rollover, but you can get ready if you want to go out for RFPs or revisit it at the end of that 5-year term. Again, it is a professional contract, so if it's, you know, the court wishes, we could revisit it at any time. The 5 years would be to allow that 15 to 20% increase to take place, and also to streamline the collections during that time so that there wouldn't be any interruption. That way we could have a predicted amount of revenue and then further allocate our resources accordingly to fit the needs of the county, such as when we did that push for the budget, we were able to draw in additional people. Having that availability, having that foresight, and knowing potential revenue that could come in allows us to plan accordingly and predict and to help in those situations when we need to draw in additional people to help.
My only thought is in a contract of this length, and I really, in 2021, when y'all came back, when all of y'all came in, I thought that was very informative, not only for the public, but for the court, to hear what y'all are offering the county and what these delinquent taxes mean. And to me, before entering into a contract of this length, I would like to hear that again. And I have not been dissatisfied with MVBA, and I have not had any outside entities say anything but good about how they handle the delinquent taxes and how they are to deal with. But in a contract of this length, I would still like to be able to, not only for the court, but for the public, to be able to hear what these delinquent taxes mean to the county and what these companies do for us, or what these law firms do for us.
Commissioner?
Your Honor, our current contract just rolled over as of September 1, so we are in a one-year contract currently. If we could possibly adopt the other amendments and then provide for a shorter term period, or just allow it to continue to automatically renew, and then we can do a workshop within that time period. I just don't want to, I just want to make sure that it's understood that today it was about the amended contract and not a termination or entering into a new contract. So.
Okay.
But doesn't the 5-year, we don't have a 5-year contract right now with a 3-year option.
Correct. Right now, we're on a year-to-year. That's why this would just amend it to secure the 5 years to implement the other provision. As Peggy and I had discussed and agreed at length on, we've discussed at length on it. But again, that is just a proposal for this amendment, and so we can alter that amendment per the court's desire. But we do have a current contract in place.
Going through the previous steps that we've gone through, we have, passed 3 resolutions updating our processes in the contract because it did not have you can't boycott Israel, the fee, the rent,
And PACE.
and PACE, the PACE program. Those were the 4 items to amend the contract so that you can be in compliance. We are all in compliance. Now, we have rolled into, we did an automatic rollover. We're out of our 3-year term to the first year of the automatic renewal.
I believe the second year.
The second year, okay. So we have to approve,
Some sort of amendment so that we can be in statutory compliance and so that we can collect and work the PACE assessment liens, as well as incorporate 3311. So we do need to amend our current contract to bring it in to compliance and to pull in those other provisions to allow us to work those.
to be in compliance with state law. Okay.
So could we approve the amended contract and amend the amended contract by striking the 5 and adding a 1?
We're already into a 1.
Well,
Yeah, but we need to go into the next year, and we need to have that workshop. And the cog, how slow it moves.
right.
So we've got to get into next year. This is already December nearly.
Yeah. What you're suggesting is do it for 1 year and provide for the opportunity for all interested parties to come forward. That's what
Yes.
you're proposing.
Yes.
That way we cover what we've got.
Yeah, I don't
All the
mind
contract
making the
change.
contracts to be statutorily correct with what we did this morning. And is there something else that we haven't done? That we haven't done this morning, Israel?
That is part of this amendment.
That's in
Oh, it
this
is?
amendment.
Okay. But there's nothing else that we done prior to what we did today?
Just the PACE contract that you
Oh, yeah, the
entered
PACE.
into with PACE.
Yeah.
But
So, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Go ahead.
So we just need to put in our contract that we will collect and work those on your behalf pursuant to your contract with them.
So how is that PACE contract working with the city of Gun Barrel? Have we received any money, or y'all received any money or anything like that?
We have not received anything on that. To my understanding, it takes a pretty good while for anything like that to get really moving and in place, which is kind of why Peggy and I had discussed the 5-year, so that we could get a process and procedure in place and allow that time period to come to fruition, so to speak.
The reason why I say that is they keep on giving them a start date to turn dirt over there, and I didn't know if it was maybe the pace was not matching up with those dates or something like that. So
We don't have a direct contract with PACE. It is between the county and PACE themselves. They just get turned over to us by the county through the provisions of that contract, and being that the county is responsible
Gotcha.
to seek out and collect on this.
okay.
So it's going to take time for them to go delinquent,
Oh yeah.
for us to start working them, which is one of the reasons for the extended
The
contract.
5-year.
So we're here on an amended contract, and the discussion is the
Length of time.
the term. That's what currently is trying to work with all the amendments and all of that. We're fine with. There's concern about the term.
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, if I may, I understand your reasoning for that. I just feel like this is something that we're dealing with like every couple of years. And if not the 5 years, maybe 3 years. I mean, it's like she said, the pace, that's something that's coming, but we haven't actually had to deal with it at this point because, it takes time for them to go to delinquent. But it'll give us some time to get everything in place.
Yeah, I'll be honest with y'all, I cringe every time this comes up.
I know.
I just do.
It's like every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, I know the court makes a decision on the contract,
Right.
but it behooves the court also to go along with what the tax assessor collector says. We don't collect the taxes
Agreed.
sitting up here.
Right. Yeah, no.
So,
We've had this discussion before, especially when it comes into possible software come in. That was why we backed away so much last time. Got a service, got a software. Who even knows about the conversions? This is always one of those difficult things that we grapple with because, like I said, all the firms do a fantastic job. And they've done it, and BVA's done a fantastic job. Linebarger's wonderful to work with. Purdue and Brandon, who has our JPs, great to work with. So the discussion is we have to pass something to be in compliance with law. It's the term. So depending on how the court wishes to go, if it wishes to go short term or long term, short term means that we would need to bring the others in and have a workshop for our edification and the public's. Long term would be what is presented. So if we did a short term, we would I would try to bring this thing extremely quickly so we can get it done with, because as I said, I despise when we start doing this. 25 years of this one is never fun. Never fun. And they say, why should it be fun? Well, it's not. But the fact is that the competition that goes on between these law firms, they're great organizations, but what tries to happen is that leveraging what they do and services and all that against us, and quite frankly, I'm wore out from it. For any of us that have been here any long period of time, but they do great work, and I consider them all friends. But I am sick to death of being hung in a position to where that we're pressured one way or the other. I'm sick of it myself personally, and I'm sorry to get on a rampage, but 25 years I've heard this. Whether they're going to provide a service, I'm ready to do a service at a time that is transparent to the public. If we want to go 1 year, 5 years, 10 years.
Well, I said my piece also about my concern, but I do believe that I need to follow what tax assessor collector Peggy Goodall thinks is best for the county. So, with that in mind, I'm gonna move to approve the amendment to the contract by striking, and I'm gonna amend the contract by striking out the 5 and putting a 3. Inserting a 3.
I think I could go for 3 because this whole panel up here could be gone in 3 years. Be a new one sitting up here, and then they can make decisions.
True. True. It gets closer all the time.
Well, I'm not for that. I think that we need to do our due diligence. It's been 23 years since the judge says we may have had a, a professional service contract or some kind of workshop that we could do our due diligence and that kind of stuff. So I'll stand alone. And Peggy, I know that I need to go with you, but for something that could be out there that might be a little better, and we've taken $200,000 and we have a service contract that has to go along with that $200,000. I'm not going against what you want. I'm just going against what I feel like is best for me and the people that elected me and all the constituents of Henderson County. So, and I'm ready to put it behind us too.
Yeah. It always does, and this is speaking to the court. This one issue is the issue that has caused more turmoil among the court, and I mean several iterations of the court. I remember when the first time I ever remember dealing with this was about in 2004, and it always causes strife. When it is a professional services that ain't, two different shades of gray.
But back then, you could probably light up a cigarette in the courtroom.
No.
Oh, you
Courthouse is still the only one that we voted to be smokeless. Yes, no smoking.
I'll second his motion.
Well, we were still in discussion. That is your motion?
I'll second his motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner McCann, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the amended agreement with NBVA for tax collection services for an amended of 3 years. And that's one we all sign?
Judges,
Just striking the 5 and adding a 3
Okay.
in the contract.
With the judge's authorization to sign?
Judge's authorization to sign.
Any further discussion before we call the vote? Is none? All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 4-1. And now, we move to item 6, which is consider and take action on a resolution to authorize the joint primary of the Democratic and Republican parties for the 2024 election cycles. Miss
We're getting ready for 24.
Yay.
So I've met with both parties, and I bring to you today the joint resolution to hold both primaries together like we have in the past, and we've signed contracts with the Democratic and the Republican Party I have to hold their primaries together. So I bring to you the resolution to do that.
This is not uncommon. This is what we do every cycle, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It'll be for the primary and the necessary runoff.
And the necessary
Yeah.
runoff. There was one year that I think we had 2 or 3 way back there where we had a primary, a runoff, and there was the moving of time. So normally we knock this out in 2.
I hope so.
Hopefully 2. Okay. All right. Questions for Ms. Lakey? Hearing none, entertain the motion.
So moved to approve.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Richardson to approve the joint resolution and statistical information for the joint primary. I'm reading the title here. For the 2024 election cycle. All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Item number 7 is consider and take action to designate early voting and election day vote center locations for the 2024 election cycle.
So I bring to you the election day and the early voting locations. We've moved a few. We've visited in August. I've met with all the commissioners, and in Athens, we want to move to the Help Center, the Legacy Center, north of town. I think it's going to be a good location. There's plenty of parking. That'll replace the Texan for next year, and we won't be voting at the office. South of town, we're not going to use the Kane Center. We want to use the St. Edward's Education and Ministry Center. We've met with them. It's a very nice location, plenty of parking. There's an awning in the back, so that's a very good location. And then 7 Points will be City Hall. I think that'll be sufficient. It worked pretty well this past election, so everything else remains the same. We'll use all 17 all next year for the primary and primary runoff, and in November.
Trinidad City Hall.
Hopefully, Trinidad City Hall. I put Trinidad City Hall on there. We may have to come back and revisit that, but that is the plan. They've
Gotten their permit from TxDOT signed.
For edification of the public, you might want to expand on why that's important.
It's a better place to vote and easier to get into for people that need accessibility, and it's just going to be really nice. It's nice and big.
so
I think all of our other places are working well, and I visited with Miss Lucky the Legacy Center the other day, and it's really nice. And
It
I
is.
think it's going to be a really good spot to vote here in Athens, because we're getting way too small over there at the elections office. And I think there's going to be plenty of parking. The building is wide open.
For those not familiar, for the last few cycles, we've been able to use the Texan. It has become no longer available, and we have worked with the Help Center. They have a new building coming up that is, closely situated to where the Texan is. It's within just a gunshot from where individuals are normally used to voting at, be it the elections office or the Texan. It's got space, it's got parking, it's centrally located. We're very excited to get this because of the location, because we were having to, if some of the other locations that were being thought of moved further away from where people were accustomed to coming to. So I want to really thank the Help Center and that organization for making it available to us. The pictures really do look like
And
they're
you
going to be able to
can
handle.
get to it from 19. You can also get to it from the road behind it. And the parking is, I think, adequate. So I think it's going to be a good place to vote. People from outside of town don't have to come all the way into town if they don't want to. It's right off the edge of downtown.
Is that St. Edward's educational deal where the radio station?
It's out in South 19, on the right out there,
kind of across from the dollar store.
the dollar store on
Yeah, the
South
dollar store.
19.
It's been there. It's been a church the whole time.
And Commissioner Spivey, looking at these locations in your precinct, you're comfortable with?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Tooley, your location?
I am this time, Judge.
You are this time.
I didn't realize that we took the fire station off during the amendment voting in November, but it's on there, so we're good.
Commissioner McCann?
I'm satisfied. Did we use a lot of these same locations at the past election?
We're missing 5 of them: Moore Station, Bethel, Payne Springs, Marcus, Malakoff, and what other one do we use?
Trinidad?
We
No,
had
you
just,
I don't think
it
we-
was just in the.
Did we combine Chandler,
Chandler and Moore Station.
but Chandler, what is that one? And then the west side?
Yeah, we combined that when we redistrict. We condensed down a few there.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yeah, I'm good with all my locations. Miss Lutke and I went to St. Edward's Church and looked at it, and it's going to work out good for us. Just it's at the back of the building. Have to get people signs and stuff for them to go around the back, not try to enter the front. So that's about the only issue. That they'll be entering at the back of the building. So
Well, some of the discussion, how we combined a few for the, what I call the constitutional election cycle. It's the special election.
Right, we're allowed to do that. Next year, we're not allowed to combine any locations. Whatever we decide our vote centers, and they have to be half of our voting districts. So we're at we could have as least as 15. We're at 17 right now.
Right, and what I was getting to, that has been common practice for years when it comes to those off-cycle elections due to the cost, and usually it is a smaller turnout is why they do that, and we'll get into that discussion on on the next one. But these are our historical locations, and again, the vote centers is one of the best things that ever happened as far as being able to conduct elections. Do you agree with that statement?
I do agree. It makes it a lot easier.
Sorry.
Well, I think when I first was elected, we had 27 voter
27 poll-
sites,
Yep.
but we did not have the vote centers. And then when Henderson County became a vote center, that allowed us to cut some of those back down to where not only is it smaller populations voting there, but finding the help to man all the facilities
Yeah.
was
And
becoming a problem.
and the cost of equipment. You know, we invested over $600,000 in new voting equipment, which was really a fantastic choice. That we were kind of ahead of everyone with the hybrid that we use, the combination of the paper and the scanning with the electronic stylus, I believe they call it.
that was the only thing good about paper. It was cheap.
Yes, and even in that, it was more efficient for us because there were no wasted ballots, and you have to store all ballots for X amount of time, those that were cast and not cast, and so space is of a premium. So I think our elections process, our elections administrator as well, is a shining example of the rest of the state, to be quite honest with you. We appreciate what you do, Paula.
You're welcome.
So, any further discussion on this item?
What's that, Paula, down at the bottom, that 30?
We have 30 voting tabulation districts when we redistrict, so that means we can only get on to 15 vote centers.
Oh, okay.
That's why I put that there.
I got you.
So
Well, I didn't
I totaled all your
understand
precincts.
what the VTD was.
But yeah, voting tabulation district.
Okay.
Remember, we created 2M. We had to split 3N.
We had some maps.
3N, we had to split it because of the redistricting
Yeah.
at the state level.
3N to 3W.
And I can't remember where the other one was.
We had 4. We did several inside the city of Athens. We made 1 for 4B to accommodate going around the loop for the state.
And just as an example, if we didn't have vote centers, instead of 27 locations, we'd have 30.
30.
Which, how many does it take per location to operate?
Well, 4 minimum. Yeah,
4 at a minimum.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
any further discussion? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the designations for early voting and election day vote centers for the 2024 election cycle.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and second by Commissioner Richardson to approve the designated locations for early voting and election day vote center locations for the 2024 election cycle. All those in favor? It passes unanimously. Item number 8, consider and take action on order of creation for the formation of Emergency Service District Number 8. Ms. Lucky.
I'm not sure if this one's mine, but I'll do it if Brandon wants to.
We'll ask him to come up.
So I bring the court order for the creation of the Emergency Service District. So it passed 738 votes were cast in favor, 360 were cast against. So I have the court order and the attachment A behind it to create that district.
Questions for Ms. Lucky? Any questions toward Mr. Irby? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion on the creation and formation of Emergency Service District A with the meets and bounds as prescribed, Exhibit A.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, seconded by Commissioner Cam, to approve the order for the creation and formation of the Emergency Service District Number 8 as presented in the documentation. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously by the court.
And I also brought you new maps. That's what that map is an emergency service.
Okay. Ms. Lucky, thank you.
You-
Item number 9, consider and take action to set a public hearing on a request to close Henderson County Road 4533 located in Precinct 4. Commissioner.
Yes, Court. Had a gentleman come to me about closing a county road, and he owns all the property surrounding this road. He is the only house that's on it. I guess back in the 80s, this was made a public road back when all the 911 addressing and stuff was coming out, and we were actually giving road numbers to our roads and stuff. And he just wanted to close it as a public road, so we have to set a public hearing to go through the process of closing this road.
Court, questions? Hearing none, can we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing at 9:15. Let's make it 9:10.
9:10?
9:10. Let's go with December the 20th. Well, we won't be here then. I think we can go to the 19th then. How many days is it? 21?
21 gets us clear of any possibilities, so that would be that'd be the 12th.
The 12th. Let's get
Yes,
it to 12. Let's set a public hearing at 9:10 on December the 12th.
I'll second his motion.
Motion by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey, to set a public hearing for the closing of County Road 4533 located in Precinct 4 for 9:10 a.m. on December the 12th. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item 10 is receive financial reports, which we have none. Item 11 is consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheets. Mr. Bynum.
Yes, sir. So, Court, today I have the payroll disbursement totals for bi-weekly number 23. I need to get court approval on it if I can, please.
Questions, court? It's our direct deposits and our deductions are just about even. Amazing. If there's no questions or comments, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the payroll disbursement for bi-weekly 23 as presented. All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
And yes, Court, I have the accounts cash sheet for October 2023. I need to get approval on it.
Commissioners, questions concerning the accounts cash sheets? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the accounts cash sheet for October 2023.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey and second by Commissioner McCam to approve the accounts cash sheet for the period ending of October 2023 is presented. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously.
Thank you, Court.
Item 12 is consider and take action on submitted contracts, which there are none. Item 13 is consider and take action on requests for right-of-way permits. No permits. Item 14 is consider and take action on submitted budget amendments, which we have none. Item 15 is consider and take action on payment of bills. Ms. Carpenter.
Yes, sir, we have fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $278,774.57.
Commissioner Spivey, questions?
No questions, Judge.
Commissioner Tooley?
I have none.
Commissioner McCam?
I had one statement on a bill that was precinct 4's. It was charged to 3, but I think it has already been put into a journal entry.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Richardson?
I have no questions.
Lots of electricity bills.
Looks like 2 months worth of them, didn't it?
You know, keep the lights on. Any further questions or comments? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2023 fiscal bills in the amount of $278,774.57 with the necessary budget amendment, not budget amendment, journal entry amendment.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the bills in the amount of $278,774.57 as presented. All those in favor? Passes unanimously by the court. Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Item 16, consider and take action on submitted plats.
No plats.
Item 17, open and consider bids, which we have none. Item 18 is to convene into executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.074 regarding personnel matters, namely interview and discussion of applicants for the County Veterans Service Officer position. Court, can we get a motion to move into executive session at an appropriate time?
I'll make that motion to move into executive session at 10:20.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve to move into executive session at 10:20. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. We'll be back when we're done. Thank you. Item 19 is to reconvene into open session. Can we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey to reconvene into open session at 12:25 PM. All those in favor? Passes. We're now back in open session, and what we have before us is to consider and take action on matters discussed during the executive session, of which we interviewed 5 applicants for the VSO, the Veteran Service Officer position. 5 really good applicants. I was quite impressed with what we had to choose from. We had received 20 in total, I believe. We chose to meet with 5 of those. Any discussion?
I would like to say again that we had some good candidates, and I believe the veterans, if they were able to stay with us, would have been proud of the people that in this county who are willing to represent them as a VSO officer. With that in mind, I move that we appoint Clay Roundtree as our VSO officer.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam and second by Commissioner Tooley to appoint Clay Roundtree as our new VSO officer for Henderson County. Any further discussion?
Do we just tell him when he starts? When we tell him?
Yeah. Given the holidays and everything, it's something that we'll work on between now
Okay.
and then.
I think there's some HR stuff they got to go do first and everything to get everything in line.
Yeah,
So
need all the HR requirements. Anything further? All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously. Item number 20 is consider and take action to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley and seconded by Commissioner McCam to adjourn at 12:27 PM. All those in favor of the motion? Passes unanimously.